Hello and welcome back to the Breadwinner Podcast. I'm your host, Caroline. I own an in-home sourdough microbakery, and I absolutely love getting super nerdy about all things smart business when it comes to building a sustainable sourdough business that you love, that supports your household, your community, and your family. Today's episode is all about one part that can be easy to overlook in your sales process, but it's really powerful when it comes to customer retention, keeping those customers around. So we're talking about your pickup experience, because your customers are not just going to remember the delicious bread that they brought home, but they're also going to remember how they felt when they got it. So there's a lot of potential for creating a wonderful impression and leaving your customers feeling really seen and valued just in the simple act of picking up your bread. So today we're going to walk through some really simple ways to create a pickup experience that feels warm, clear, personal, professional, even if it's just from your front porch. First, we're going to talk about why the pickup experience matters, and then we'll dive into some strategy. So why does it matter? First, take a moment to think about one of the best small business experiences that you've had, or something that jumps to your mind when you think about a really great experience with a small business. It probably wasn't about their fancy packaging or their expensive branding. It was probably about how you felt. You felt welcome, you felt seen, you felt cared for. Maybe they did something to go just a little bit above and beyond to show that they really cherished your business. And that's the kind of feeling that we want our customers to leave with. Because when people have a memorable, feel-good experience, then they're more likely to come back, to tell their friends about you, to treat your business with more respect. They're not going to ghost you or pick up late. And they're more likely to treat you like an actual business and not just like someone selling bread out of their home. You do not need a storefront to provide excellent customer service. You just need intentionality. I would argue it maybe is even a little bit more important that we are so intentional and thoughtful and professional in the way that we interact with our customers as a home-based business, because we don't have the kind of inherent credibility that a storefront would give us. So now that we've established why it's so important, let's talk about one of the most important things that you can do in your pickup experience, and that is eliminate confusion. So having a really clear experience with instructions that are easy to follow and they know what to expect is going to lead to confident customers. So ask yourself, would a first-time customer know exactly where to go and what to do when they place an order with you? Without you having to send them a text manually, without any manual process on your side, do they get what they need to come and pick up their order without any confusion? So there's certain information that you want to make sure that they are receiving right when they place their order. If you're using the Simply Bread app or Hot Plate or something else to receive those orders for your fulfillment, make sure that they include your exact pickup address. Typically, this is automatically shared after they place their order with you. You don't have to share that up front. They need to know the time window for pickup, whether they're selecting a certain time frame or whether you have a certain window for pickups that they need to come within. They need to know that. They need to know what your house looks like or where the bread table is located. Is your house hard to find in any way? Is there any sort of confusion that they might run into when they're trying to find it? Do you have a landmark that you can point them to? For me, our neighbor's mailbox is on our side of the street, and so it creates a lot of confusion for people driving and trying to find us because they see the neighbor's mailbox and get confused. So I put in the pickup instructions that our house is the first on the left with the blue porch. Now, not everyone reads that, but I put that in the pickup instructions. They get that in their pickup reminder email. So hopefully with a couple of touch points, they notice it and they recognize it. And even if they just skim the email and miss that, they at least have something in their inbox that they can go and pull up when they're driving slowly by the house trying to figure out which one it is. And I have communicated which house they're looking for. Also let them know, do they need to knock? Is their bag going to be labeled with their name? Anything specific in your process that wouldn't be obvious. What name will be on their bag? Will it be their first name? Will it be alphabetized? Will it be their last name? So an example text could sound like, thank you for your order. Your pickup is on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at 123 Main Street. Look for the table on the front porch with a Bluebird Bread Co. sign. Your name will be on your bag. No need to knock. Just come, grab, and go. But feel free to knock if you have a question or want to say hi. The fewer questions they have, the more confident they'll feel, and the less likely they are to message you in a panic or just get overwhelmed and never order again. There is science behind the amount of energy that it takes people to figure things out. We actually burn calories when we're trying to figure something out. And the less confusing it is, the easier, the more friction-free it is, the more likely people are to come on back. If your pickup process is confusing or frustrating, or they have to text you to find out where to go, they are less likely to become repeat customers. On the flip side, if it's really clear, really easy, and unconfusing, they can figure it out without having to reach out to you. They get all of the information right after they've placed the order, and it's a great experience. Then they're that much more likely to come on back because it just was a really breezy, pleasant experience to receive their bread from you. Once you have communicated clearly and done that and given them all the information they need once they place their order, let's think about your actual setup when they're coming to pick it up. Whether you're picking up, in this conversation, we're primarily talking about like a porch pickup. But this could be even if you are meeting them in a parking lot and they are picking up from your trunk, or you take pre-orders at your market. Let's think about how we can elevate that experience just a little bit with some intentional touches without having to lay out the red carpet completely, because I am team sustainable process, and the more easily repeatable and in the hustle of a bake day, I don't have time to go totally over the top in a pickup experience. It just needs to have a few intentional touch points to make sure that they are experiencing my brand in a way that feels aligned in the way that they experience me on all levels, social media, in person, on my porch, etc. So with that said, a really simple setup can still feel warm and elevated, just takes a little bit of intentionality and thought. So here's some ideas. You can have a clear, friendly sign with your bakery name. This could be a vinyl sign that you get printed from a local print shop or Walgreens. This could be an easel chalkboard sign that you just write your bakery name, maybe a greeting, maybe a little bit of instructions. If you have a driveway that's long, they can't see the house from the top of the driveway, you probably ought to have some sort of signage at the top of the driveway so that they can clearly find you and feel welcomed and they're in the right place. Again, this doesn't have to be over the top, nothing super fancy, just as simple a little chalkboard sign from Hobby Lobby or an inexpensive vinyl sign from Walgreens, something that communicates that they're in the right place and they found your business. Another idea for a little bit of an elevated experience would be to have baskets or crates to organize their bags, maybe group them by pickup time if you need to. I have some really inexpensive shelves from IKEA that I got 10 years ago. They were like $15 each. I'm sure the price has probably gone up since then, but they're no frills, but they just kind of live on my porch. And my customers know that's where they're going to find their bread. So I organize on shelves. You can use shelves. You can pull out a little folding table and put a tablecloth over it. It doesn't have to be fancy, but some way to organize and keep everything, especially if you have a lot of bags, maybe group by last name or category. Another really easy way to elevate would be to use a cloth tablecloth instead of a plastic one over your folding table. I got a very inexpensive, cute cotton tablecloth on clearance at Home Goods, and I just keep that in the cabinet by my front door, and it's ready whenever I need to set up that folding table. Another thing you could add if you feel like you need it is a printed list for customers to check their name. I've never done this, but if you feel like they need a way to verify what they ordered, you could leave the order list out there and allow them to just double check that they've received their order. If you have anything that should stay chilled, if you're in a state where you can sell whipped butter or pizza dough or something like that, make sure that you have a cooler there to keep those chilled, and make sure that it's really clear that they need to grab their items from the cooler too. If you have anything that is not included in their actual bag, make it so obvious that they also need to grab whatever is in the cooler, or maybe it's on a different part of the shelf if it doesn't fit, etc. Make it so clear so nothing gets left behind. And then maybe you have a little welcome message, a little sign in a picture frame or on your chalkboard that says, "Thanks for supporting my small business." Mine usually has a little greeting, and then I just say, "Thank you so much from Caroline and family." One more thing that you could optionally include if you feel like it would be a little bit of a sample. Occasionally, I will bake a few extra cookies and put them out on the table and just say, "Treat yourself," and allow people to grab a free cookie when they're picking up. It's totally optional. It's not something that I do regularly, so my customers don't come to expect it. But now and then I want to maybe let them try something, a new flavor that I'm working on. Or I just feel like baking off some extra cookies. My cookie dough balls are 80 grams, so sometimes I will cut them in half when I'm baking them for treats like that and just bake off half-size cookies. They still bake perfectly round and beautifully. They're just a little bit smaller, and that's a great way to give them as a sample gift. Again, that's not something that you need to do all the time. Maybe you do it for a special holiday. Or again, like I said, if you are maybe trialing a new flavor, let them know that this might show up on the menu and you'd love their feedback. All right, now that we've talked about your setup, let's talk about the inevitable snafus that might happen. Honestly, will happen. People are going to forget to pick up. People will pick up late. Maybe you get distracted and don't put something out, or maybe you had something happen and you can't fulfill an order. Your bread doesn't rise, something burns, a kid needs mommy, and your schedule goes upside down, etc. Let's talk about some ways to navigate the most common pickup hiccups with grace. So the first would be your customer showing up late. Have a friendly follow-up just ready to go. A script saved in your phone, if you use something like Project Broadcast, I have a template that I just grab the template, personalize it, and I don't have to use my brain power to write something up every single time. But it could just sound something like, "Hey, friendly reminder, your order is ready for pickup. Pickup window is 8 to 11. I can leave it out there until noon. Please let me know when you're on the way. Please let me know if you need help finding it." Something like that. My pickup window ends at 6 p.m. Usually I will say, "Friendly reminder, your order is ready for pickup. I can leave it on the porch until 8. Just let me know when you're heading over." Something like that. I try to give them a clear time frame of when they need to come. Sometimes they'll say, "I'm so sorry, I forgot. I'm heading over now." Sometimes they'll say, "Is there any way I can pick it up tomorrow?" And when they ask, I do accommodate that. I put it out on the shelf on Friday morning instead, but I don't offer to hold it until the next day, unless if it's someone that I know personally or I have some context of why they didn't pick up. I generally try to stick with my set schedule as much as possible and have them used to that schedule so they're not asking for exceptions. The next thing that might happen is that your customer grabs the wrong bag. Honestly, I think I've only ever had this happen once, so I wouldn't sweat it too much. But if this does happen, something you can do is have name labels on each bag, very clearly labeled. I think that's a big reason why I don't have it happen, is because I have every order in its own handled paper bag with the name very large and clear on front. And maybe you snap a picture of your pickup table once you've got it all set up so you can reference it. If you feel like you need to, maybe you set up a Ring camera so you can keep an eye and just see who accidentally grabbed the wrong bag. And then if you need to, follow up kindly and offer a replacement if it was your mistake. Or even if it wasn't, maybe you just still offer a replacement if the person who missed out on their order didn't get it. Like I said, though, as long as your orders are really clearly labeled, the chances of this coming up frequently are pretty slim. Another thing that you might run into with your pickup schedule is weather. Really rainy or really hot. Depending on where you live, maybe it's snowy. You can protect your table with a canopy pop-up tent. If you have a covered porch that's protected, that's a great place to set up. If you have to move somewhere that is not your normal pickup area due to the weather, have a sign or some sort of directions to point the way to where your inclement weather pickup is being moved. I've had super humid or rainy weather where I just keep all of the bread in the house and put my easel sign out on the porch and say, "Please knock your orders inside, staying dry." Just make sure you know if you're diverting from your regular routine that you clearly communicate to your customers what's different and how they can get their bread. Another thing that can happen is that you just forget something. The best thing to do is just to own it and reach out as quickly as you notice it and offer a solution. A few weeks ago, I finished bagging all of my orders and realized that I had put the wrong loaf in someone's bag and they had already picked it up. So I had their correct loaf and they had one that I needed for someone else later in the day. I very quickly texted. I said, I am so sorry. I still have the loaf. You can keep what you have. And then I was just going to have to work it out with the other customer. Or you can come and swap them out and I will hold on to your correct loaf. They came and picked it up and swapped it. But that quick, prompt communication, owning my mistake, was what helped smooth that out really fast. This could sound like, I just realized your cookie box didn't make it into your bag. I'm so sorry. I can refund it, or I can drop it off to you later today, or let me know if you want to swing by and grab it. It's up to you. Let me know. I am so sorry about that. Customers aren't expecting perfection, but they do remember how you respond. So respond with professionalism. Don't go over the top with the I'm sorries, but do be sincere. If it was your mistake, let them know that you inconvenience them, that you want to make it better, that you want to make it right, whatever that looks like. Don't jump to a refund all the time, but if that's appropriate, make sure you offer to refund. Occasionally, I'll offer to deliver a replacement. I think I've maybe done that 3 times, or I'll offer to sometimes I'll offer to give them their replacement in their order the following week. Follow your gut a little bit. Let professionalism and treating your customer be your top priority, especially if it was a mistake that you made. Make sure that you own that and do what you need to make it right. Again, they are going to remember how you handled it, how you responded it, more than the fact that something went wrong. In almost 2 years of doing this, I have really not run into a whole lot of these scenarios. So don't start sweating and thinking that you're going to have things going wrong all the time if you're just getting started. But it is important to preemptively think about how you will handle them, because inevitably something will happen, especially when you're working out the kinks in the very beginning. Just be ready with a strategy to implement if and when that arises. All right, here's the next phase. The last part of this pickup experience conversation is adding some joy. Let's think about ways to go that extra mile without a whole lot of effort. A small moment of delight. These aren't required. They go a long way. You can sprinkle them in here and there. This could look like a free small treat or an extra treat, especially if it's their very first order. It could be fun to put in a little note and a little treat and just say, hey, thanks so much for your first order. Here's a thank you. Or if you know that they're a regular and they've sent a customer your way, stick a little thank you in their bag. You could put some seasonal flowers or herbs on the table just for decoration, or if you have an abundance, maybe you make little tiny arrangements that they can take with them. Write a little heartfelt note on your chalkboard, something like, your support means the world. Or a couple weeks ago, I wrote something like, it's a good day for good bread. I honestly went to ChatGPT and I said, what are some cute, non-cheesy greetings that I can write on my chalkboard to greet my customers who are picking up their bread today? And it gave me a bunch of options and I chose the one that I liked. Maybe throw in a fun little touch for kids like stickers. Order a big package of stickers on Amazon and put a little bowl out there and let them grab one. These details are cute, but they're also sticky. No pun intended. They stick with your customer. They're memorable. They create an experience that your customers want to come back to again and again. Again, like I said, those things like a sample or a treat do not have to happen every single week, but those surprise and delight moments now and then make a big impression. So to recap, here are 4 ways to wow with your pickup experience without a whole lot of extra effort, just some intentionality and thought. Number 1, make your pickup instructions crystal clear. Eliminate any room for confusion. Number 2, use signage and your setup to create confidence. Project a professional image and welcome your people in with a clear process. Number 3, prepare for hiccups with grace and professionalism. Have a strategy. Know how you're going to handle hiccups and be ready to own anything that goes wrong and make it right. And then number 4, add small moments of joy that your customers will remember now and then. A little surprise and delight goes a long way in showing your customers that they are cherished and valued. So whether your pickup table is on a porch, in a driveway, at a local coffee shop, out of your trunk, how it feels really matters, because great bread is why people order, but the way that you make them feel is why they return. And with that, we will wrap up. If this episode sparks some ideas, if it inspired you, if it answered some questions that maybe you didn't even know you had, I would love to hear about it. If you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. If you're following along with me on social media, take a screenshot of the show. Let me know what you learned or maybe you'll implement in your pickup experience. And if you have a fellow baker friend who would also benefit from this episode, send it their way so they can learn too. If you haven't already, make sure you're following the show so you don't miss an episode. They drop every Thursday. They're always packed with solid, tactical, practical advice for building your thriving sourdough microbakery. If you've been listening and you haven't left a review, that would mean the absolute world to me. It's like giving me a gold star, helping other people find the show. I absolutely love reading your reviews, and it tells the podcast algorithm to show the show to more people. All right, it's been a joy to be here with you today. Thank you so much for taking some time and listening to this episode. I'll be back soon with another one, but until then, happy baking.